Today's playlist is Craft Your Stash. We'll talk about that in a minute. Welcome to Funky Junk Inspiration, and I really am glad you're here. I'd love it if you'd subscribe to my channel. Make sure you hit that bell to get notifications. Hi everybody, let's get started here. What we're going to do is we're going to take this little piece of wood here that I've had in my stash forever. I've got a whole stack of them. We may do a couple of these real quick. And I'm going to use this stencil here. I'm just a vintage soul. But we're going to do something a little bit different. Is we're going to put this on the two edges here. Uh-oh. If you guys heard that, my fan just rolled off my table. But we're going to put these on the edges here, and we're going to do a little bit of a reverse type of technique as far as stenciling goes. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to sit this down here like this, and actually the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to sit down. I don't know why I'm standing, but I am. So let's get this kind of here in the middle like that, and I'm going to take a pencil, and I want this to come right up to those lines. So I'm just going to put a little mark right there. I'm going to hit all three of them. Okay. So I'm going to know that I need to do this stencil up to that line, that edge there, right there, like that. So here's what I'm going to do. If it goes over a little bit, it's not going to matter, you guys. We're not going to be, you know, hey, this is got to be exactly to that spot. It's just got to be close enough. So we're going to sit that right there, and I'm going to grab a little piece of tape real quick. Okay. Now, some of you follow me over on Facebook. You've probably seen me do this method because I absolutely love doing this method. I think it is really neat and really cool looking. So I've done it a lot. Anyway, all right, so we're going to take that. Now I'm going to take my Rust-Oleum chalked paint. I buy it in the quart and put them in these FIFO bottles here. And my nozzle is a little bit clogged. Doesn't normally get clogged, but every once in a while it does. And if I do, I just stick me a skewer down in there, and that usually fixes the situation. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a stencil brush. I love my Essential Stencil brushes. All my stencils are from Essential Stencil. I am a brand ambassador with them. So if you are interested in any stencils from Essential Stencils, when you go take a look, if you use the code FUNKYJUNK at checkout, you can save 10% on your stencils. Okay, had a little interruption there. Let's just get going. So now what I'm going to do is I need to hold my stencil still. Okay, I don't want to just willy-nilly and let it move around. And I'm just going to go over this and put white paint. I'm using my white paint for this stencil right here. Now you're saying, what are you doing? You can't even see this. But you will be able to see it here in just a few minutes. Okay. Because, you know, normally putting white on this pale wood, you can't see very well. Okay, now see, I can see that. It's even a little bit raised up, and I'm at my lines, which is a good thing. Now, I'm not going to worry about this little section here and here. We'll deal with that after a while. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to line this back up over here on this side, right like that. And we're going to do the same thing over here. Okay, I'm going to grab my stencil brush. You guys, these stencils right here came from a collection from Melissa Bradshaw. They are on the Essential Stencil page. She did a collaboration with Essential Stencils and helped design these stencils. Now this stencil right here, as I'm doing this, this would be an excellent stencil to do a little bit of raised stenciling with. You know, like if you wanted to use your oh, you guys know what I mean, like your drywall stuff. Like, my mind is blank, y'all. Okay, so now we have that on each end. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to dry this real quick, just like this. I'm not going to, you know, go crazy getting it super dry. And then we're going to take a little bit of sandpaper and go over the edges just to get the pieces that are kind of sticking up a little bit. Okay, before we go to the next step. All right, so now I'm gonna take this, just this nasty, it's nasty, I'm telling you. I need to change my thing in it. And I'm just very lightly going over the top, okay? And all that's doing is getting the little paint edges off, just like that, all right? So here's what we have so far, okay? So the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna grab our Valspar Antiquing Glaze. Now I'm gonna tell you guys, they don't sell this anymore, and it makes me very sad that they don't sell it. I'm gonna make a noise because the lid is stuck. A lot of times when you have things that are stuck, like paint especially, or glue, if you hit it real hard on the table, a lot of times, I'm not saying every single time, but a lot of times it will loosen up whatever's hard underneath there and get that off. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this guy right here, and I love this stuff. Look at how pretty this makes the wood. But Valspar was bought out by another company, and they discontinued this product. And I'm kind of cherishing what I have left of it, but I'm hoping that they come out with something very, very similar, because it's just easy to work with. I know other companies have antique glazes and stuff, but you know how it is when you get stuck on one, you think that it's the best. You don't want to switch over to something else or anything like that. But I'll find what I like, especially when I get super desperate and I don't have any of this left, which I have barely any. And like I said, I haven't been using it, and I'm going to start using it because just like what this playlist says, you need to craft your stash, and I definitely for sure need to craft my stash because I have a ton of stash. Now, while I have this out, I'm going to go ahead and do this side over here. And I'm going to put this antiquing glaze on this side. We may end up making this double-sided, and if we do, that's okay. We've already got this on here. Now, if I was going to do the same technique on both sides, I wouldn't want to do this. But I definitely want to put a finish on the back side of my stuff, because then it looks, it just looks finished. It looks like, you had good intentions to have a nice piece of home decor. You're not going to go and buy a piece of home decor that the back is still just, you know what I'm saying, the plain wood color. I mean, I guess you would, now that I'm sitting here thinking about what I'm saying, but anyway, Goofy Christy here. Okay, I'm going to take just a second, and I want to thank my Take 5 sisters, Mary from the Painted Peach, Jeannie from Jeannie's Palette. All three of us make up Take 5, and every Friday we do a playlist over here. Today's playlist is Craft Your Stash, so make sure you check everybody out on what they're doing today over here. All right, we're back. Had a little bit of an interruption there, but I believe I was telling you about the Take 5 and our playlist. So I just need to get this dry right here. Just a little dry. It doesn't have to be perfect. Now remember, whenever you're working with something that is water-based, which this is water-based, my paints are water-based. If you go over them when they're still wet, that's when you lose the, you'll reactivate the paint. And a lot of times, and then what you've got is, instead of having a pure white color, you might have a tan color or a beigey color. This doesn't matter to me because it says I'm just a vintage soul. So if this ends up turning a little bit brown because that antiquing glaze isn't completely dry, I'm perfectly okay with that. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is, you know what, in fact, as a matter of fact, I'm kind of thinking that I don't want to do this white. I think I want to do this in a blue because I absolutely love blue. And I think a dark blue on top of this would be absolutely beautiful. So we're going to stop for a second. We're going to come over here to this Ocean by Waverly chalk paint. Now I'm going to tell you, if you are an avid Waverly fan, this is probably, I've had this thing of paint for a very long time, because when I found it and I seen it and I loved it, I bought like 3 bottles of it, and this is my last bottle, but it's still pretty full because I know Waverly has discontinued a few of their paints and stuff like that. But anyway, I digress. We're going to do navy blue. I mean, why the heck not? Navy blue, red. just to have a little pop of color on here is going to be absolutely cool. Now, I like to move into a circular motion like this. You can stipple, you can use a makeup wedge. You do you when you stencil. It doesn't matter how you do it. The biggest key is less is best. The least amount of paint you can have on your brush is the best that it can be. You don't want blobs of paint on your brush. You don't want a whole lot of paint on your brush. Okay, it's better to go over something a couple times than to try to get all the paint on there in the first round. Now, if you can tell, I didn't grab any more paint and I did that whole thing. Okay, another good thing is I was going this direction. I'm gonna go back over the whole thing very lightly. I'm going to turn the other direction. What that does is if you have built up any going this way on those edges, that will help spread that out a little bit, okay? So if you had any that built up just a little bit on the edge of the stencil, right there. Okay, so now we're gonna go do the big reveal here. Oh yes, look at that. Don't you just love that? Isn't that beautiful? I love it, I love it. We're not done, we're definitely not done. Around here, we have to do our edges. I like to frame in my projects, so I just take my stencil brush and I go right along the edges right here. And see how that looks? See how that makes that pop compared to this side, compared to that side. That really brings out your image or whatever you've done in the center. I don't want to make a bunch of noise, but we'll fast forward through this part. Okay, so look there. Is that not beautiful or what? Now, we're not done. We've got to have a hanger. And since I did blue, I'm going to pause you here for a second. I'm going to jump up and grab some denim material to do my hanger with. So hold on. And I'm back. Okay, so I've got this old pair of jeans here that I've been cutting on and all that kind of stuff. You know, they had holes in them, so it's not like they were salvageable to take to give to somebody else. They're holy. They were holy jeans, and I'm not talking about the Bible kind. You know, I'm talking about the good old-fashioned hillbilly holes in them. So that's that there. So anyway, so I'm gonna throw this over here. Got me just a little strip. I just ripped it off of there. Not a big deal. You know, like we're trying to do here. We're trying to use our stash, stuff that we have. You know, I already had my stencils. I already had that little plaque thing. I already had this denim material. So, okay, so now I'm going to try. I might need to get it a little bit smaller to fit it in this hole. But I'm going to come in from the back. And the reason I'm going to come in from the back is because I think it would be cute to have the little knots hanging out the front. Okay, that is super tight. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to grab this in the middle, and let's hope that I can rip it right down the middle. Yeah, there we go. Luckily, it was the right direction so that it would rip real easy. This is going to be a lot simpler to get into that hole right there. Okay, I'm not worrying about which side is which on the material either, because it doesn't bother me. These are light jeans anyway. They didn't start out light. They used to be really dark jeans. They're my old work jeans is what they are. So they've been worn a lot and washed a lot. Okay, but I'm not going to worry about, see how some of it's dark and some of it's light there? I think that looks cool. So I'm not going to worry about that. So let's go ahead and stick in this other side and see how I stuck the knot over here on that side. I think that looks cute. Okay, now I don't need a long hanger on here. I just need a small hanger. Now, one of the things that you could do with this project is you could fill in those holes. Just take your good old glue gun and fill it with glue and then sand it off, and then you can paint over that. You could put wood glue in there, whatever you think, if you don't want those holes to be in there, okay? And then what you can do is you could use this on a wreath. You could use the, I mean, just about anything that you can think of, you could put this little piece on. We could have it just sitting like on our, you know, prop it in a dough bowl or something like that. But I'm going to leave it as a hanger. Now look, see my stuff's even twisted. I kind of like how that looks. I'll probably twist it when I hang it up. And I'll probably just put this on a gallery wall downstairs. I'm not positive yet, but I think that's what I'm going to do with this project here. And it looks like I was off screen. If I was, I apologize. So thank you guys for watching. And again, I want to thank the Take 5 group, which is Jeannie from Jeannie's Palette, Mary from the Painted Peach, and myself. We'd love it if you'd subscribe to our channels. Make sure you hit the little bell to get notifications when we post live videos. And remember, Take 5 does playlists every Friday at 5 Eastern Time. So come check us out each week. You guys have a great day. And here's our final reveal. I love how this turned out. I think it looks really, really, really cute. If you want any information on Essential Stencil, please send me a message and I can get that information to you. Just remember to use Funky Junk at checkout to save some money. Bye-bye.